Welcome back, everyone. One of the questions that I used to get all the time that I really haven't gotten in probably 2 years is, why are older iPhones better than newer ones? And when I used to compare like older ones to new ones, like I still do, but I guess nobody's asking me anymore, essentially I would always say that older iPhones are better than newer ones in some cases. And to be honest, with the last generation and this generation, it's never been more apparent in my opinion. Now, the number one reason and everything that I have to preface this whole video by is basically saying, yes, in my opinion, new iPhones are better in most areas, but in some areas, the iPhone, 12 may not be as good as an iPhone 11, and the specific area is the price tag. In my opinion, I really do think that the price tag of these devices are pretty much, the determining factor whether somebody is going to upgrade their device or not. When I look at an iPhone 11 and I look at an iPhone 12, for example, Apple is still selling these phones brand new, and the iPhone 11 is an older phone, but for $599, I mean, that is a really, really good value, and the difference between an iPhone 11 and an iPhone 12, which is being sold for over $800, I mean, there's not that big of a difference. I owned both phones, I still own them, I've compared them side by side tons of times, and there's not that big of a difference. If I were you, if I wasn't somebody who had to buy the latest iPhone all the time, dude, 1,000,000,000%, I would rather just buy a older iPhone, like an iPhone 11, or even an iPhone XR, than sticking with something like an iPhone 12. On top of that, another major reason why I always prefer buying older ones and why they may be better than newer ones is the repairability of these phones. Now, when you look at an iPhone 11 and an iPhone 12, there's a certain amount of things you can repair, but even with the iPhone 12, it's a harder phone to repair than an iPhone 11. Parts are more expensive, and even on top of that, if you don't repair it yourself and you send it into Apple, it costs more money for them to fix it, which makes sense, it's a newer phone. But even going like 2 generations behind, when you look at an iPhone 10, you can realistically repair almost a lot more things on that phone than an iPhone 12 by yourself. And if you go a couple more generations before that, an iPhone 6S, you can pretty much repair every single thing on that device for the most part. Now, there are some things that you still can't replace and all that stuff, but to be honest, I think that's okay for a lot of people. And that makes a lot more people kind of interested in buying, maybe a semi-broken phone, not like completely butchered and all that, but if it's, a phone that maybe has a cracked display, some people who have some experience with that may actually feel somewhat comfortable of actually fixing that device themselves and pretty much moving on from there. And that's another big area where I've looked at, and I've done it myself a couple of times. And when you look at an iPhone 12, I kind of have to move a little bit differently with it, even with my 12 Pro. To be honest, not really, but if I were to, break this phone, it wouldn't be that great of an experience. I would have to either buy a new one or I'd have to send it in for repair. I don't have Apple Care either, so that's another pretty big thing about it. And ultimately, that's another big thing about these phones is their repairability. So if you're planning on buying a phone like this, either a brand new or used, just keep in mind that a older iPhone, whether brand new or used, like an iPhone 11, where you can still buy brand new, may be a better option for some people because of that price tag and because of that repairability and because of the value per dollar. The difference between an iPhone 11 and iPhone 12, and to be completely honest, the difference even between an iPhone XR and iPhone 12, there really isn't that big of a difference. It's pretty much almost the same phone besides the camera and maybe a little bit in the speed. You're not going to experience, the lack of software updates right now, because that's not going to happen until like 2 or 3 years from now. So that's pretty much it. Those are a couple of reasons why I think some older iPhones may actually be better than some newer ones in my opinion. So if you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.